Good morning. Happy Easter. Welcome to Godly Play. In the beginning, baby Jesus was born to the mother Mary and the father Joseph. They made sure to keep baby Jesus warm and watched him grow. When Jesus was almost 12 years old, they went from Nazareth to Jerusalem. After the celebration was over, they started home. On the way, they noticed Jesus wasn't there, and they searched for him for 3 days and 3 nights, and finally found him in the temple, teaching and talking with the priests. When the parents asked him why he had done that, he just looked at them and said, "Did you not know that I would be in my Father's house?" Jesus grew to be a man, and when he was almost 30, he went to the river Jordan to meet with his cousin, John the Baptist. He went out into the water and told John, "Baptize me." John looked at him like he had seen him for the very first time. He said, "I cannot baptize you. You are the Messiah. You're the one we were waiting for." And Jesus said, "That's not how it is to be. You are to come first." After John the Baptist baptized Jesus, people there said they saw a dove come down close to Jesus' head. He left the water and crossed the river Jordan to go into the desert. Jesus crossed the river Jordan and went into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. One night he heard a voice that said, "If you are truly the Son of God, turn one of those rocks into bread so you'll have something to eat." Jesus said, "No, humans need more than just bread." Then he found himself at the top of the temple, looking down. He heard the voice say to him, "If you are truly the Son of God, jump and see if God will send the angels to save you before you hit the rocks below." And Jesus said, "No, there's no reason to test God." And then Jesus found himself looking out over all the lands. And the voice came back again and said, "If you follow me, I will make you king of all the lands." And Jesus said, "I am not to be that kind of king." He never heard the voice again and crossed the river Jordan to start his work. Once Jesus crossed back over the river Jordan, it was time for him to begin his work. What kind of work was it? He was to come close to people who nobody else wanted to come close to. See how close he is to the blind man? So close he can touch him. When Jesus got close to people, they could do things that they couldn't do before, and they became well. And Jesus knew that he needed to become a parable. So Jesus went into Jerusalem for the very last time. People in Jerusalem thought that he was going to be a king. And he was, but not the king that they were thinking. They weren't paying attention. He did not ride into Jerusalem on a big white horse, and he wasn't carried in by soldiers. He rode a donkey. It wasn't even his donkey. He had to borrow it. And still on that Sunday, as he rode into Jerusalem, people waved palm branches. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jesus went to the temple to teach. And at night he went to the Mount of Olives, with the 12. On Thursday, the soldiers told everybody they were going to get Jesus, but they couldn't find him. Jesus and the 12 hurried through the streets of Jerusalem, went into a house, into a small room upstairs, and they shared their Last Supper together. After they had eaten all that they could, Jesus took a piece of bread, gave thanks to God, and said something like, "Whenever you take this bread and share it, I will be there with you." He then took a cup of wine, gave thanks to God, and said, "Whenever you share this wine, I will be there with you." Jesus and the 12 sang a hymn, and Judas got up and left. After they were finished, they went to the Garden of Gethsemane on the Mount of Olives so Jesus could pray. When Jesus was finished, he and the 12 started walking. Judas came out of the shadows, kissed Jesus on the cheek to greet him. That was a sign for the soldiers to come and take Jesus away into the dark. And the 12 went into the darkness as well. The night was dark and chaotic. The next day, the soldiers took Jesus outside the walls of Jerusalem, where he was crucified. Jesus died on the cross, and that afternoon became very dark. The soldiers took him down from the cross, took him to a cave, and buried him. And they rolled a huge stone in front of the doorway. On Saturday, it was so quiet you could almost hear the earth breathing. On Sunday, the women who were courageous enough went to the tomb to be with Jesus, even though it was sad. But when they got there, the rock that had been rolled in front of the doorway was gone, and Jesus was no longer there. He may not have been inside the cave, but he was with them, just as he is with us, through the bread and the wine. So we need both sides to tell this story. We cannot have this side without this. And we can't have this without this side. They don't come apart, see? This is the mystery of Easter. And so the color purple turns to the color white, the color of pure celebration. But wait, there's something wrong. We have a beginning, we have a middle, and we have an ending. This is the end. And if we only had this side, there would not ever be a beginning. But we do have this side as well. So what should we do to fix it? Now the story has no end and no beginning. It goes on forever. I wonder what part of this story you feel like you belong in. Think about that for me on this Easter day. I hope everyone has a wonderful Easter. Thank you, and God bless.